And I'd like to just briefly run through, please, a little bit of the plus parts that Simon alluded to, and just add a little bit more to what's happening with the Southside initiative and what we're seeking to achieve. Southside itself is something which I've been very personally involved in for quite some number of years, and it's actually now 20 years old, and we have a lot to thank Ken Grundy for, actually, because Ken Grundy was then Bendigo Properties when I first came to Nottingham, and he evolved Newcastle House and implemented that scheme, which is the headquarters of Gala and UPS, and similarly he actually evolved this site. I don't know if you remember, but he had this site and marketed it in the early 90s for 250,000 square feet of offices, saying this is the right place for us to actually gravitate to as a business location by virtue of the transport interchange and everything else. And because Ken's quite balmy, we all basically poo-pooed him and didn't take much notice of him. But thankfully Capital One in the 90s came in, firstly taking the adjacent Boots factory warehouse, and then built this magnificent facility. And I think, whilst it's a great shame that Capital One have obviously moved on, I think now that this is no longer closed shop to Capital One, I think we can all say what a fantastic statement this building makes. Turning to Southside itself and the initiative was being born relatively recently, and first and foremost I'd like to say it's not a closed shop. Whilst the funding at the moment is currently from Wilson Baildon, from Peel, from Baildon, Ray Valentis here, and Neil Hartley from Lawn Estates are here representing Baildon. It's very much open to more businesses to get on board, get involved. Delighted that both Steve Wood's come up from Westfield, and I'm delighted that Chris is going to talk to us about the transport interchange and Westfield, because they're fundamental components of what's happening. But within Southside itself, if we actually have a look, and I update you on what is happening just at the minute, and then run through a little bit of the pluses, you can see what's happening at the moment. How do we move this one? Is there a clicker, is it? Lovely. First and foremost, the actual Unity Square development, which Richard was going to present, is one of the gateway sites. It's directly opposite to the station. It does have the opportunity to provide Nottingham with a sense of arrival. I don't know if you've been to Sheffield recently and seen what they've done there, other cities such as Manchester, what's been done around the transport hub. We need to replicate that within Nottingham. At the moment, the offer we give people when they arrive on the train is pretty bland and it's pretty uncoordinated. Unity Square will provide a hotel. Peel will either operate it themselves or they'll appoint a third-party operator, but they're committed as part of the first phase to implement the hotel. It has consent for some 450,000 square feet in total, of which around about 270,000 square feet is allocated for the offices, and there is, in addition, complementary retail and leisure space. There'll be public realm both in front of the scheme, opening up the space and giving a sense of arrival, and also within the scheme there's a piazza. In terms of where it's got to in terms of planning and strategy, the parameters outline consent, if I've got that technically correct, was granted in April this year. That provides the massing, provides the ability for the heights to be created, within which the architectural design and individual buildings will follow. So recently there's been much discussion with one of the major occupiers in Nottingham. This scheme was considered. We were able to design a building which was in excess of 100,000 square feet. The largest single building is 120,000 square feet or thereabouts, and then the other buildings can be a range of buildings from 20,000 square feet individually. Martin Guest from CBRE is here as well. He's joint marketing agents on the scheme, and please have a chat with Martin afterwards if you want to know anything more about it, or of course myself. Sentinel was the first scheme to actually gain a detailed consent. This is Wilson Baildon's scheme. It sits diagonally from the Inland Revenue's headquarters on Wilford Road. Provides 100,000 square feet. It's actually 112,000 square feet of space over 9 floors. As with the Unity Square development, there is a major emphasis upon sustainability and environmental design. It's linked into the district heating system, and both schemes are designated and aimed at providing a BREEAM Excellent accreditation. There's still some work to be done, and I think the regulations are still changing, but that's certainly the aims and aspirations in both schemes. But that scheme is actually ready. It could be implemented straight away. There's some detailed design work ongoing by Mabers architects locally, but that can go straight away. Elsewhere, I think this is a great scheme. The scheme's been brought forward by Baildon. It's along the canal side, and it replicates in many ways Castle Wharf in terms of the way in which it relates with the canal and uses existing buildings, but is mainly a new building. I think they're looking at 3 individual phases. Is that right, Ray?
Probably be 4 in the end.
4, yeah. Total scheme is about 20,000 20,000 square metres, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, BREEAM accreditation, BREEAM Excellent accreditation being achieved, but it will link fantastically in terms of the walkway between the city centre and Westfield Centre. So it's a pivotal scheme and enables people to use the canal side as well. So it'll really bring some life into the entrance into Southside from a walking and business perspective when you're linking it with the retail city centre. In terms of what else is happening, we shouldn't underestimate what already has happened. Mackley and Rush have completed Waterfront Plaza. South Reef is fantastic in terms of what it's achieving. Crytek have moved in. The residential element of South Reef, together with the Picture Works, which was undertaken by Lace Market Properties across the way, where there's already 250 flats completed. And previous to that, Roxy Light implemented the successful development of Hicking, which you can see in front of us. So there's much that's already happened. And there's more sites to go at as well, because if you go around Southside, and we would invite the other landowners and stakeholders to really get on board with us on the Southside initiative. There's the Thames Waterside, which is the warehouses, which sits on the corner of London Road. They integrate with Eastside, which in itself is a fantastic area. And we need the areas to pivot and come together. And when you come through within the site itself, Cubic Holdings own all of the open car parks that you see. They're there, they're ready to start going forward. And had it not been for a market downturn, those schemes would have got going. Lace Market Properties would have implemented Meadows Gateway, had it not been again for market conditions. 2 hotels were actually in lawyers' hands. There was also a student provider providing significant student accommodation, and a car park operator was agreed. It's a great shame that the market took that away from us, because the south side would be further along than it is today. But I think out of this, it has brought everybody together, and what we're seeking to do is really bring forward, as part of Nottingham's offer, the south side itself. So excuse me for a bit of an ad-lib speech by virtue of Richard's departure, but thank you for listening.